This is episode 1 of Manga Recommendations, and it's about the best sci fi manga of all time. It's Ultra Heaven. Ultra Heaven is a manga set in a dystopian, somewhat futuristic Japan where everyone is a drug addict. Drugs have been legalized, but not the ones we know of. In the manga, two are shown: pumps, which are injected through tubes, and little patches placed on the skin. Both of them do the same thing. They have the ability to alter your state of mind. Not in the traditional way, like how ecstasy makes you hyped up, or how cocaine, well, makes you a crackhead. It's similar to DMT or any other psychedelics where your mind goes to another state of consciousness. However, it is more advanced, controlled, and more wild, especially the illegal ones. In the manga, these drugs are very diverse and specific. For example, you want to sleep? Take some Slumberine. You want to feel relaxed like you're in a hot spring? Take some Nirvana. You got a case of nervous awareness? I don't know what that means, but you can take some Lipopamine D. And that's just some of the few mentioned in the manga. It is implied that virtually any emotion you can imagine is just a pump away. Now, these drugs are advanced, convenient, so everyone's taking these drugs all the time. Everyone. And naturally, if we keep taking them, we'll be dependent. In the same way we're dependent on our phones, computer. But the key word here is dependent, not addicted. It means you can't live without it. For example, in the manga, there's a drug called Slumberine that makes you sleep. Same as a sleeping pill, but without any of the side effects. So sleeping problems aren't a problem anymore. Insomnia is quite literally cured. In this case, the drug becomes an essential piece of technology to help us function better. Or, in other words, technology becomes an extension of the human body. We become an enhanced version of ourselves because of that technology. Now, Ultra Heaven takes this idea a step further with its purely recreational drugs, which are similar to the real-life drug DMT. If you don't know what that is, DMT is a hallucinogenic and psychedelic drug that gives you intense hallucinations. And people who have taken DMT describe their experiences with the drug as otherworldly. They lose a sense of reality, time, their identity, and they often report seeing these alien beings of a higher dimension, and they talk to them. It's like entering a higher state of consciousness. And that's exactly what happens in the manga. They enter a higher state of consciousness, though it's even more advanced. The drugs are shown to take our characters on fantastical, intense trips where reality is distorted. Also, with the help of machines called amplifiers, the mind can be amplified. It's basically the same thing with the drugs, but controlled. They send your consciousness to a higher dimension of some sort where the user has control given that their mind is strong enough. So these two things have the purpose of enhancing the human mind, and I think that's the main theme of the manga. Human enhancement in the context of mind-altering drugs and machines. Sounds like a legit title to a research paper. And with that theme in mind comes other related themes like religion, transcendence, consciousness, reality, and let's not forget, drug culture. So what kind of story has these relatively obscure themes, at least in manga? Well, let's get into it. The plot is centered around the protagonist Kabu, a small-time peddler of drugs and a straight-up junkie. Most people are just dependent on the drugs, and they follow the government's regulations on the drugs. Junkies are the ones who break the rules. They overdose, misuse the drugs, like using two at once, and they use illegal drugs. Well, Kabu here is a seasoned veteran. He's tried any and every drug there is available on the market. Or so he thought. After following Kabu's crazy antics for the first 100 pages or so, and meeting some of his friends, which I gotta say is one of the best, if not the best intro to manga I've ever seen, so I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. Anyway, after all that, we learn that Kabu's bored. He's jaded by all these substances that he's all too familiar with, until he catches wind of a new drug on the market, one that will make him question his own existence, blurring the lines between dreams and reality. And guess what? He actually does get a hold of this drug from a random guy at the park. It's almost as if it was all planned. So you might be thinking, blurring the lines between dreams and reality. How the fuck are you supposed to do that in a manga? I mean, this is an anime, you can't make something like Paprika or Perfect Blue. But that's exactly what he did, and he did it even better. Mr. Koike here uses the medium to its fullest potential as he breaks the conventional structure of a manga page using his strikingly creative paneling, effortless composition, and sublime art. I mean, look at his shit, it's crazy. He captures the feeling of a psychedelic trip perfectly. And you know what's funny? Most of the time, the structure of a manga page, like paneling and composition, is usually meant to make the manga easy to read. People praise the art, the composition, the paneling, the flow of a manga for making it easy to read. You guide the reader's eyes through the action so they can follow the story. Well, Ultra Heaven does the opposite of that. Paneling, composition, the whole structure of the page is used to, story-wise, confuse the reader. Because it still flows nicely, but narratively, you're going on a mind-bending, dimension-traveling drug trip. Okay? I mean, when Kabu's tripping the fuck out, you don't know where the story's going or what the fuck is even happening. The art works together with the layout of the pages to create these seamless transitions between scenes of Kabu's hallucinations. It's kind of like a dream. You just wander from one place to another without a clear path. In a way, the manga loses its reader intentionally, which is fucking amazing. And it's not just with the visuals. Mr. Koike here also does it with the story. When Kabu goes on these trips, there are several storylines that each implies the other might just be a hallucination, and some are only shown in glimpses, fragments, so unless you really pay attention, you get confused fast, or at least I did. I had to read this 4 or 5 times to actually get an idea of what's happening. So after taking the drug, the crazy drug, Kabu goes on this journey through reality. He visits different worlds, and not different in the sense of an isekai where it's 2 completely different worlds. These worlds exist within the mind, Kabu's mind and society's mind. I mean, there's even a literal depiction of a collective mind in the manga. But I won't go too deep in this part because this is where things get real spicy. And it's where you get all the themes that I mentioned before. It's, the core of the manga, pretty much. So yeah, one final note is about the symbolism and references in Ultra Heaven. There is a lot of it, especially from Japanese culture, obviously, and religion, particularly Buddhism. You'll definitely get a lot more from this manga if you know some basic Buddhist concepts, as well as its symbols. Hinduism also shows up a lot since it's related to Buddhism. There's also Shinto and a little Christianity. There's a common theme connecting all the symbols from different religions that are shown in the manga. As I said, things like consciousness, reality, life, death, transcendence, religion, God, the good stuff. But I gotta admit, it is a fairly obscure subject matter, so not a lot of people are familiar with these concepts, and it might be hard to understand the story it's trying to tell. I mean, I've read it at least 8 times. And that's pretty much the only bad thing I can think about Ultra Heaven. It's niche and confusing. So, yeah, I recommend this manga to anyone that's looking for a unique experience. The story and the visuals are one of a kind. You won't get this anywhere else, and I think it's definitely worth reading just for the art. Also, it's a short read, only 3 volumes, takes around 1 to 3 hours to read it, so why not? So yeah, thanks for watching. Like the video if it was nice. What are your thoughts on Ultra Heaven? Please leave a comment, no spoilers. And if this video gets, I don't know, 500 likes, that's a lot. I'll make an Ultra Heaven analysis video where I try to explain what's happening. So yeah, thanks.